It's cheap, small and light, and it's on my Panasonic S5 shooting me right now. How's it doing? Well, we're gonna have a look at it up close as always, get some random shots on the go. The weather has been really bad lately, but I've been messing with it for a few weeks, so I've got a fair idea how she fares. We're going to give it a little bit more of a play and then summarize, and then it'll be over to you in the comments below. You know the crack, so let's just get on with it, or crack on as we usually say. Still haven't got it on a t-shirt. You still haven't asked for it, have you? Anyway, first things first, I always appreciate these little baggies that Pergear include. I mean, think about it, budget gear, but they still put these real nice touches. This is actually a very useful baggie. Just don't stop doing this, Pergear. I do love that. Obviously the rest is a simple affair. No lens hood, and yeah, plastic snap cap, that's absolutely fine. We've got metal mount at the back. Brilliant, no problem at all. I haven't had any fit problems with the Pergear lenses. Obviously mainly Fujifilm L mount micro four thirds, that's my sort of thing. And there it is, dinky little thing, weighing 245 grams, filter size 43, angle of view 63.2. Let me just pop it on my S5. Right, it's clearly a dinky thing, isn't it? Look at that. 10 diaphragm blades, 7 elements in 5 groups. Closest focusing distance, which I think is going to be interesting, 30 centimeters. Let's see how the bokeh is at 30 centimeters and f1.4. This could be a very fun lens. I just have to remember to set the focal length in the camera so it works well with the IBIS and records to the EXIF, and then we're off. So let's do that now. Firstly, the lens feels perfectly fine on my S5. It's actually pretty fun shooting something so small and light, and it doesn't feel that out of balance considering. Now, it's not rated as weather resistant, but as you can tell, I did get caught in some pretty grim weather and it survived. The aperture markings and clicks are a bit strange, but in the real world, it didn't really bother me. See, I don't think this is the kind of lens that you buy to worry about the finer points of stopping down an aperture. Most of my favorite shots were wide open or close to it, and at least you get a bit more to play with at that end of the aperture range. Focusing too was okay. It's got a nice long throw for what it's worth. And while we're at it, let's have a quick look at the focus breathing. This is probably the softest lens I've tried all year. In the center, it's not ideal, and the edges don't really get even half decent until around f8, but it's not a complete loss. I actually really like some of the images that I got with it. You know, in photography, an imperfect quality like this can transmit, let's say, the most interesting character in the right circumstances. Color rendering is a little blue, maybe a little underwhelming at first, but at least the S5 sensor gives us a lot of room to play. Contrast is not bad. I found in a lot of the very muted scenes I came across in testing, it actually created some very decent contrast transitions. Now, just for the crack, here's a static indoor test where the only change between frames is the aperture. See if you spot any issues you care about. There is definitely noticeable barrel distortion and field curvature, both of which you will have seen at the very start of this video. Now, vignetting is pretty pronounced, wide open, as you can see in all the tests in this video, but at least it's a fairly smooth transition, so it could work for you. There is a lot of ghosting and flaring too, but, you know, while we're at it, let's just get the final test shots out so we can sum it up and hand it over to you. Is it worth it then? I mean, it's £109 at the time of recording, so sure. If you want a cheap manual focus lens that has more character in its flaws than the rest of your owl mount kit, then yeah, go for it. Of course, if you need more, the Sigma 35mm is almost 7 times more expensive, or the Panasonic 35mm 1.8 or Sigma 35mm F2 is, or both, come at 5 times the price. You know, you get the idea. This is a cheap lens, but in the right hands could be fun, maybe. Let us know what you think if you've tried it in the comments below. And Pergear, we're excited to see what's next.